Hi y'all. So today I wanted to come on to you because today is a waxing moon ritual and it is in the sign of Cancer, which happens to fall in my first house. Um Now when it comes to waxing moon rituals, I usually work with the element of earth. So I'll use like herbs or crystals. Um Sometimes I'll bake or I'll cook something intentional, stuff like that. And since it's earth element for the waxing moon, and that's just my thing, I don't think you'll find anything online of why. It's just my path. It was my intuitive path to, and I've been working with the moon for like 15 years now, and this is the way I've always done it. Once a week I honor the moon in all her phases. And since right now she is in the sign of water, she's in Cancer, so I blend those two elements together, so earth and water. And so today I decided to make a simmer pot, and with this simmer pot I used a couple of ingredients. Let me take you with me. I used a couple of ingredients. I used rosemary. I used, here, here she is. It's already done because I've already done the ritual. I've done the intention. I've done everything. So I used rosemary for clarity and mental communication opening and stuff like that. I used lavender for calm and peace. I used citrus peel for joy and vitality and success. And then I used a cinnamon stick to attract and draw wealth and abundance toward me. And I lit a silver candle, but you can use a white one or whatever you used. I used silver because today happens to be Wednesday. And then I put it on low and I let it simmer, and I pulled up a chair and I just sat here in front of the stove as it simmered, and I just sort of, I meditated. I didn't force anything. I just sat with it. I stared at the steam. I spoke some incantations. I actually prayed Psalm 23 over it. I prayed it 3 times. But you can do whatever works for you. You can use whatever ingredients work for you. This is just an idea to maybe inspire you to do a moon ritual for yourself. But yeah, I work different elements, different moons. Okay, so since this is the waxing moon, I always incorporate earth, and so very earthy baking substances. And since it happened, and then once again today was the moon was in Cancer, so that is a water moon, and that happens to be in my first house. So I was very specific to, so when I use the waxing moon rituals, I usually do it to sort of start the momentum. So the new moon is when I start making my goals, my plans, my wishes, all that. And then the waxing moon is what I use to sort of plant the seeds and get that going. That's why I use earth energy. And then on the full moon, I use, it's like more of like, it is happening now. It's like activating and manifestation and all of that. And then the waning moon, I use it to cleanse and release what I don't need and what doesn't serve me, so that I can be prepared for the new moon to come. And so I'll go through, so real quick, the new moon, I use the element of air. So incense, bubbles, breath work, anything with air. And then of course the waxing moon, earth. And then the full moon, that's when I work with candle magic mostly. And then the waning moon, I work with water, which I always do spiritual baths, salt baths, to sort of cleanse and sort of, be done with the closing of the month, of the lunar month, and then being prepared for the next new moon. So yeah, I'm working on this one specifically for my first house, because Cancer rules my first house. I'm a Cancer rising, and this was the intention was for me to grow in, confidence and visibility, and the way I speak and the way I come off. A lot of planets are in my 10th house, so that's my visibility, my career, my public image, all of that. And I'm finally deciding to start this channel. I've been meaning to start it for the last 15 years. I wanted to bring you guys on my journey, but I was always too camera shy or whatever. So I'm finally here. So it's all part of, the growing process. And so this specific simmer pot for me, that's why I chose those specific ingredients, was because it aligned with my intentions. I want to be more clear-headed, more calm, more at peace with myself, more self-compassionate with myself, more not so hard on myself, not I wanted to come to you in authenticity and not so much in perfection. And I want to grow as I'm doing, because if I keep waiting to be perfect to start, I'm never going to start. So I'm going to grow as I go. So, but depending on what moon the house is transiting for you, I would highly suggest that you work with those themes in your life. But yeah, that's basically it. This was a spur of the moment video, so I didn't really have time to like set up the tripod and prepare and all that, because I felt like if I did all that, I wouldn't do it. And today, one of my spiritual exercises for me to do was go with my gut. And it was like, if I feel the urge, and it was like a safe, of course, and no harm to none urge, do it. Like if I'm craving an ice cream, go get one. If I'm feeling like skipping, skip, sort of take advantage of the free will, as long as it's harm to none and harm to nobody, right? And so that was one of those that I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna pull out my phone and start recording and upload. It's all about doing and going, and it's all part of the astrology energy. It's part of my spiritual workings, my spiritual process, my healing process, my growth process. It's all of it. But yeah, hopefully there'll be more to come. I'll try to do weekly uploads on, the new moon rituals that I'm doing. I would also like to share with you the daily morning rituals that I do. Those are much, they're like a minute long, but it just sets the intention for the day. And I love bringing magic into the mundane. I'm also thinking of sharing more stories with you guys, everything that has happened to me, how I got here, how I got from, where I was to here. It's been a magical journey. I've loved it, every single part of it. Some parts not so much, but in hindsight, it's always like, I get it. It's always hindsight. But yes, thank you so much for spending some time with me, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye.